red lines running there.
I can see it. Hi guys. Oh, of course there's an announcement just when I turn the camera on. I don't really know how to start this video. I'm feeling a little bit nervous to be in front of the camera again. But I've missed it and I'm sure I'll get back into it. So we've settled in Sweden now. We had a bit of a stressful time at the end in New Zealand trying to pick up all of our things. I was weighing the bags down to the last few hours before we left and sorting through things, and I'm gonna have family ship some stuff over to me still. But we made it onto the plane and we had a good flight and a good trip. I was a bit nervous about how my wheelchair would be handled on the airlines and how I would get up to go to the bathroom while on the plane without my wheelchair and things like that. So now that I've done it once, I'm much less nervous to travel again. I think as long as you're willing to ask for help when you need it and be clear with what you can do and what you can't do, there's nothing to worry about. People are often quite happy to help you. So yeah, I did have a tiny bit of damage to my chair, just some scratches on the paint, nothing major, but it did get scraped, and I'll go into that in a bit. But Richard thinks it looks more worn in now and hardcore, so I might just leave it like that. So on a trip to Sweden, we had about a 16 or 17 hour flight to Dubai, and then 4 hours in Dubai and another 8-hour plane to Stockholm. We got to the airport, I had a trolley, and my aunt came with me to help drive all of the wheelie suitcases. I do recommend that if you are in a wheelchair and you're more traveling by yourself, use a duffel bag or something like that, because obviously it's harder to drag wheels while you're pushing and everything else, and you can just put a duffel bag on your lap. So in the future, if I'm traveling more by myself or not going as far, I might just bring a duffel bag instead of wheelie bags. And then we queued up, got checked in, everything was fine to check in. You're allowed to have 2 mobility aids with you for most airlines, and we flew with Emirates, so I bought my crutches so that I could use those on the plane or in between transfers or if anything happened, and I brought my wheelchair with me. So we managed to, during check-in, request to have a row of seats for ourselves, which was really handy for me to be able to stretch out, stretch my legs, have a sleep, things like that. I talked to a few of my friends that are in wheelchairs before we left, and they gave me some great advice on what to ask for when you get to the counter, where to ask for certain types of help, because at every stage in the journey, you might need to alert different people to different things. At the check-in desk, one of my friends told me to ask if we could have a row blocked off to ourselves. So if there were 3 seats like near the window, if only me and Richard could sit there, because when I'm on the plane and I don't have my wheelchair, I can tell them that, sorry, I can't get up and sort of stand on my own while they go to the bathroom. So they just had to climb over me on the second flight because they weren't able to get a row to ourselves. I also went in on Emirates, and you can change your meal preferences, so I just chose like a bland meal, which is more like a medical diet where they don't have like high fat or salt intake in the food, and it's often stuff that's not too spicy, things that avoid histamines and what people normally could be allergic to. So it wasn't the most exciting food, but at least it was safe and good to eat. And sometimes they give you sort of more fruit and fruit salad options, which I quite like, having fresh food when you're on the plane. I think there's also like an entire menu or meal you can request that's called fruit platter, that you just only get fruit the whole way, which I've done before, which is also pretty nice. The first stage of the journey was to request that row to ourselves, which we got, get our tickets, and then once we'd done that, we just had to go through customs. I think Richard, both of our carry-on suitcases, but we had the bigger ones checked in, so that was alright. And we had my crutches with us as well. What's it called? Not border control, customs. Customs, that's what it's called. Okay. For customs, we took our shoes off, put all of our bags and items on the rolling band that goes through the x-ray, and obviously because if I rolled through the metal detector my wheelchair would just beep, so they took me to one side and they patted down like the wheelchair and looked underneath, and they patted me down as well. You could scooch forward in the wheelchair, so they pat your back down, pat your legs down, and then they also ask you to stand up, which I could do, but other people might need more help with that. And then it was a little bit nerve-wracking having the things up on the sort of moving bit, like having all of my personal belongings on the bench in customs where I've got my passport, my money, my bags, and they take me away from that to go and do the pat down. So if you're very like safety conscious, or you feel like people would take something from you, which hopefully they wouldn't do in customs, like it seems like it's quite highly monitored, but that's one thing to think about, is like keeping an eye on your stuff and making sure no one touches your stuff or they take you away to pat you down. And then one of the customs officers was really helpful and helped Richard collect his and my stuff when it was like coming up to the end, because together we had quite a few things and I was over to one side. So that all went well, and we put our shoes on again and went to have a look around the duty free and went to the gate. There is normally a priority boarding or seating area, so as soon as the person comes up to the desk that's there to check everyone in on the flight and check their boarding passes and things, you can tell them your situation, say, "Hi, I'm a wheelchair user." I told them I can't walk on my own, I can take, you know, steps with crutches or someone helping me, and I normally use a wheelchair. And they were very understanding about that, and they just said that's okay, you can sit in the priority seating area and we'll board you first. The first flight, that went really well. We were like the first ones to go in basically. They got the aisle chair out for me, and I'd requested to stay in my own wheelchair instead of having an airport one. So I'd been in my own wheelchair up until this point, and then when you get to the door of the aircraft, they took my wheels off my wheelchair, I believe, and stowed them inside the cabin, and then they took the frame of my wheelchair and put it in the checked baggage with all of the luggage and suitcases. I also kept my seating cushion, which definitely helped relieve like some pressure and make it softer and easier to sit on the chairs in the airplane and move around. And the aircraft I was flying was quite large. I think it was like a double-decker, and it was Emirates, one of the newer ones. So sometimes they do have some storage cabinets on board that you can store things inside the cabin, like I think my wheelchair would have fitted, but it just depends, you know, like how much luggage the staff and aircrew have bought. I think maybe they were using up that cupboard once I came to check in, so it wasn't available. But that's alright, we put it in the checked luggage, and then they gave me an aisle chair, which is like so thin, like I'm not a big person, and I had to sit with my arms crossed like this to squeeze through the aisles. And they're able to lift the armrest up of the airplane seat, even if they don't normally lift up. The air hostess or whoever's helping you will have a special little key that can loosen that, and then you're able to just slide over from the aisle chair into your row. And on the other side, it was the same thing when I was exiting the aircraft. I just had to wait for them to get my wheelchair, and then once my wheelchair had arrived, I was able to get into the aisle chair and get off the plane. I didn't know how long I would be sitting there. Like, I'd heard some nightmare stories of like disabled passengers sitting in the plane for like an extra hour or two after everyone else had left. But luckily, because they put my wheelchair on last in the checked baggage, it was one of the first things to come off, so I didn't have to wait long at all. Everyone departed the plane, and I think we were there for an extra 5-10 minutes. Then when we got to Dubai, it was like a slightly awkward vibe, because they had this like assisted lounge where basically they just took all of the disabled people there, or anyone needing assistance for any type of reason. And it was sort of like geared up that you should be in that lounge and stay in that area, and then they would come and get you or help you to your gate when it was time for you to leave. But there weren't any like restaurants or food or anything in there. So yeah, that was slightly awkward, and we wanted to go out into the airport, so we just left that lounge. Even though I hadn't requested it in the airports in Dubai, I think they automatically, if they know you have some type of impairment, they send someone to meet you and take you to the assisted lounge. And he was very insistent on trying to push me, even though I don't have any handles on my wheelchair. So I said, no, it's fine, I can push myself, and just sort of rolled away from him if he tried to push me. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, I think it's just a cultural difference. But then once I'd left the assisted lounge and I was like by myself or with Richard, I didn't have any issues with anyone. And I think it would be really fun actually to head outside the airport and explore there in the future if we ever fly through there. And there weren't really any disabled bathrooms or anything like that in the rest of the airport. There weren't any specific signs for them. Like you could go into the normal women's bathroom and there might be one accessible stall, but there would be like a heavy door to get in. So yeah, luckily I was able to use my crutches as well, and I used the crutches on the plane if I needed to get to the bathroom. So we tried McDonald's in Dubai because it was basically the only thing we could afford because it was so expensive. And Richard got like a mushroom burger and tried a Big Mac, and I think I just had like an orange juice. I had a look over my chair and could see the scrapes on the front, and I was a little bit disheartened, but now I don't even notice them. So I'll insert some footage here of when we were in Dubai. Okay, hi guys, the camera's gonna die, so we're just gonna give a quick update. We made it to Dubai and I got to keep my chair in the airport here. They unloaded it for me. Richard can film, I've got a few scrapes on it.
Yeah.
So just like down here and on the other side a little bit, not too bad though. And I think we're going to go to Hard Rock Cafe for a drink after this. We had quite a quick flight here from Auckland. It took about 16 to 17 hours instead of 18, and then we've got another 7 to 8 hour one to Stockholm. So more than halfway there now. Cool, so after that we went to our gate and we told the person at the gate that we wanted to priority board again, the same as last time. And they took note of our names and they were like, yep, no problem, like, you guys priority board. Because they had sort of one gate leading to another gate. You had to take a lift downstairs, and there was like a second waiting room you had to wait in that they opened up after you'd been at the first gate. And there was a different person there. And I went up to him to try to tell him that I needed to board first. And it was a bit confusing because he started to just board like first class passengers, business class passengers. And I thought, oh, that's okay, like maybe they board those people first and then they give priority to us before the rest of economy. But that wasn't the case, and there was like another girl there that was meant to priority board as well, and they never called out for us to come up first and get any time or a head start. So I basically had to go along with everyone else from economy, and yeah, it was like a bit awkward or a bit of a rush to have everyone behind me standing there looking, seeing that you're getting transferred into an aisle chair, and it just felt a bit rushed. So definitely, if you can, try to alert them to that you would like some extra time to board. Didn't have an extra seat on that plane, so there was a lovely girl who was sitting by the window seat. She wanted to be by the window. I was on the aisle so that I could easily get up if I needed to go to the bathroom. So she was very lovely, and luckily she was like slim, so she managed to just squeeze past me when she needed to get out. For that flight, the chair wasn't checked in together with the other bags and things. We gave the wheels to the flight attendants again, and I think they must have stored them away somewhere towards the front, and I took the side guards off That's another thing I forgot to mention on the first flight. If you have any loose bits that come off your wheelchair, like side guards, cushions, you have to take those off, otherwise might be flying about if you check your wheelchair in. And so for these bigger planes, we thought, okay, they've taken the wheels, we've taken the cushion off and the side guards, let's just try to stow it in the overhead locker thing. And it actually worked because my metal frame is quite a small metal frame, so it fit in there. And that was really lucky and really nice to know, because then it's not down somewhere else bashing about with everything and getting scraped up. So I knew I had it there, and that was a comfort. And that was another double-decker Emirates, like newer model plane. So I'm not sure that on smaller flights or like domestic flights, the overhead lockers would have enough space to store it. But it's always something you can ask about and try to coordinate. And if not, and there is sort of more extensive damage done to the chair when it's in the checked luggage, they will replace it or be liable to fix it. It just slows you down a bit and is a bit of an inconvenience. So I'm really happy and grateful that that didn't happen. All of the air staff were really lovely and came to give me the meal I requested and double check that I had everything I needed. So I really appreciated that, and it just made the journey so much smoother. So yeah, that's most of how the trip went. For me, I'm kind of, it's lucky and unlucky, I guess, but my disability now is more noticeable because I've got the wheelchair. So whenever I was in the airport, people could see that I had an impairment, and then I don't really have to feel awkward about asking for help or anything. But I know that if you have a chronic illness or an invisible disability, it can be really tricky to advocate for yourself and ask what you need. I know that several airports use the system of the Hidden Disabilities sunflower. So you can get a lanyard from them, or if you want something more discreet, you could get like a little wristband that's got the sunflowers on it. And then they know just to give you a little bit of extra time or not be surprised if you ask for an accommodation. I think other places have even started using them now aside from airports. So like maybe even if you went to a festival or somewhere and you didn't want to have to explain your disability or illness, and you don't want to have to justify why you need certain accommodations, you just want to discreetly be able to ask what you need and deal with it on your own. This is quite good, because there can sometimes arise awkward situations when you make a request for something to be done a certain way, or if you're not feeling very well and you take a little bit longer, you might feel guilty or like you're frustrating other people. And this is just a easy, kind, gentle way to show that you might need to take a little bit of extra time, and that's okay. So there's like an official website you order them from, and if you want, you can on this lanyard fill out your name, your like emergency contact or family contact if anything happens, their number, and then just say what conditions you have or any special assistance needs that you have. It could be good if you're diabetic, it could be good if you have seizures or you're epileptic. There's lots of different reasons why people could want to wear one and use one, but it just saves the person that's having to deal with doing things a different way and different challenges on top of traveling. It just alerts other people to that and that they should be patient. I think I've also seen at like different functions, like the sunflower with a green, to show that there's like low sensory spaces or quiet spaces for people that are neurodiverse, and there's more and more cool and interesting ways of solving problems and making people feel comfortable. So I think that's really awesome and really good, and it's great that we are not putting all of the pressure on the people that need help to explain why they need help or justifying it to other people. It's more about showing acceptance, making everyone feel like they belong, and trying to provide appropriate accommodations, because we all have different strengths, we all have different things that worry us. Just having the discreet bracelet on lets people know that you're having a tough time and that they should just treat you with patience and kindness. And you'd hope that people would treat everyone that way anyway, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But if you're worried, it's definitely a resource that's out there. The official website is Hidden Disabilities Sunflower, if you Google it, or www.hdsunflower.com, and you can choose your language, your region, and it will show you the different options that are available in your country. Some countries have like stickers where you can personalize them. This is just like what I found on the New Zealand website. Definitely check it out in your country or region, and I will attach a little video about the program below down in the description. So I hope this video has been informative. If you are flying on your own and you've got a chronic illness or a disability and it feels overwhelming, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. If you break it down into small steps and just think what you need to do at each stage when you're traveling, you'll be fine. It's been amazing coming to Sweden and seeing a different perspective on accessibility and disability. I would definitely say that some public spaces and public buildings are more accessible here. The bathrooms are bigger and nicer and have more modern sort of equipment and grab bars and things, and the sinks roll under, and it's just all so much easier and more sanitary. Several public buildings have like buttons where you can open heavy doors. It's almost on all doors here, like even going to the shops, there would be an automatic door button. Huge and so helpful for someone. Like I could get a door open in my wheelchair if I needed to and it was heavy, but it makes my day easier, and I know for some people that's not the case, and just one heavy door somewhere when you've planned a route out could completely ruin their day. So I'm really enjoying seeing how things are like different here, and how New Zealand is coming along with accessibility and how Sweden's coming along with accessibility. And hopefully now that I'm in Europe, I'll be able to travel a little bit more and see what things are like. My mum met us at the airport and helped us with our bags to get back down south a bit. We took the train from Stockholm to Gothenburg. The train staff were amazing. They had a special ramp, and we booked an accessible ticket for me. So I just stayed sitting in my wheelchair on the train, and then the smaller local trains have a really amazing lift system that operates, that gets you from the door that's in line with the platform up to the seated level. So I'll see if I can insert a clip of that as well and try show you guys. We're just about to head off to the mall and buy my mum's cats and cat food. It's been so nice having little snuggles with Kitty and seeing her again. I've been trying to find different activities and things to do just while I'm getting registered in the system and getting referred to different medical specialists, and I might make a video about transferring medical records from one country to another, or what things you should think about when you're moving countries, and if you do have a history interacting with the healthcare system and you have regular medications and things that you want to keep up. But while we get all of that sorted, I've just been spending a lot of time indoors because it was snowing here, and I've tried to think of different things to do. I've got some oil painting going. My mom bought a piano, so I'm going to try to learn to play some music. I can still read music, so I want to see where middle C is on the piano and see how far I get with that. Another thing I did was also make nails. I'm not sure that they're focusing. So that was really fun, and stuck some stickers on there. So I could do a tutorial on that if people are interested. My mum had a UV lamp at home, and I think this isn't actually the polymer plastic that some of the companies have. It's meant to be a sort of derived from a more natural source and biodegradable, but who knows. I'm sure the gel nail polish isn't very good for the environment, or the stickers, but I thought they were pretty cute. I've got, focus please. I've got a little flower on that one, and some flowers on these others. That's cowboy hat. And then on this hand we've got a sausage and a mushroom, and a few other interesting bits like a chili and some flowers. So I'm still waiting for lots of my applications to go through, and Richard hasn't got his visa here despite applying over 3 months ago, and they were meant to give it to us within 3 months. So please just keep your fingers crossed for us that Richard gets his visa and he can apply for a job here soon, and that my applications keep progressing. Otherwise I'm not quite sure what will happen. Maybe Richard will have to go to the UK for a bit or stay with family and friends, and if he can't get a visa here, I could at least get a visa to the UK. So we'll see what happens, but I don't want to have to change everything once I just got registered like a new doctor in a medical system, but we'll see what happens. Keep your fingers crossed. I'm wanting to film a tour of our new space that we've moved into, but I'm going to film it once we're more organised. I just wanted to take a video of what it looks like at the moment, because we've had my sister stay for the weekend and they had a sleepover here. We've been away at my mum's partner's house. I've been trying to get SIM cards organised, go to my bank, fill out forms, went to the doctor for the first time, and we've still got our clothes in our suitcases, so things are a bit chaotic, but this is what it really looks like at the moment. And Mum insisted on having all of the Christmas decorations up until February so that she could give us our Christmas presents. So she's just putting them all away. We got this clothes rack recently, and just ironing and putting some things away from our suitcases. Got a little cat in the window, a little peepee cat. It's quite backlit, so it's hard to see. But this is all going away into boxes, and we're going to be taking down the Christmas tree and tuning the piano. And Richard is just working away on his laptop, looking for some remote work in Europe, hopefully, because we haven't got any confirmation of his visa just yet. There's the kitchen. My sister drew a self-portrait at school recently, and it looks so groovy. It's like her with her little blue hair. Her boyfriend did one too. And just cleaned the kitchen. Got a little wood burning stove over here to keep us warm. And we've got these curtains hung up on the doors just to keep the heat in, because I can't get up onto the second floor, so our bedroom is down here at the moment. And I've made this little notice board for people I need to call and times I need to keep. And we've got an exercise bike over in the corner, so I'm going to try to strap my foot in and get doing some exercise. Move my left leg a little bit, and I have an appointment with a physio tomorrow as well, so that should be good. But my task right now is to put these plastic boxes under the bed, and I'm going to fold up all of our clothes and slide them under the mattresses here. I forgot to introduce you to our new little furry friend who is currently lying on all my important papers. Pee-pee. Hey Pee-pee. Well, the snow is coming full force. So there was no snow on the ground this morning and it was about -2 when we went out. And that's what it looks like a few hours later. And by the looks of it, it's just gonna keep on falling. It's a little bit hard to see on the camera actually.
Yeah.
Not showing up that much.
You can't see it falling.
Yeah.